Aphasia in bilingual speakers. The language system in bilingual or multilingual people function more or less the same as in monolinguals. This is because our knowledge of the core function of language that word represent conceptual and that we must use the grammar of the language to put the words together is fairly universal. If we lose this knowledge in one language, it affects all the others. However, there are some unique features of some languages that can modify our brain maps for a language. For example, English does not use tone to differentiate words, but Thai does. And, of course, the words we use in different languages are also distinctive. These linguistic subtleties have been shown to use different brain areas even though the basic of language seem to have universal neural representations in the human brain. Bilingual speakers most often have similar damage to both languages after brain injury, but there are quite a few fascinating exceptions. Sometimes the first language, if there is one, is best preserved, sometimes one that has been most used in the years just before the injury occurred. In our multilingual and multidialectal world, psycholinguistics can help us in understanding how people use language to communicate, but it doesn't deal with the question of what a learner's goals ought to be, the problem of variation in how a language is pronounced. It's easier to understand someone when they speak with a familiar accent, in other words, when they use the same phonetic, rhythm, and intonation patterns that you do. The speech sound they make will activate the words in your mind faster, you will process the syntax faster, and you will have more brain power left over to deal with the message that they are giving you. There are two kinds of problems with foreign accent modification: problems with the methods and problems with the goal. First, if the teaching method focuses on the phonetic segments and doesn't deal with the rhythm and intonation, which are harder to change, the learner may actually become harder to understand. Second, focusing on matching a particular dialect of English neglects all the others. People who already speak General American are not the majority of English speakers on this planet. Why shouldn't we all learn to listen to and understand many different kinds of English? It's just a matter of experience and practice. But in the meantime, economics and politics call the shots. Immigrants, foreigners, and speakers of less standard dialects are expected to lose most of their accent if they want to be successful, or even if they just want to be understood by the automatic speech recognition system at the other end of the telephone connection. In all these cases, people who speak a near standard version of the language could be educated so that they could understand its other varieties more easily. Changing your dialect or accent has penalties as well as rewards. If you move to a new part of the country, try to change your speech so that you'll fit in better, but you may feel like you are abandoning the people you really care about and the values you were brought up with. Assuming that you are learning a second language in order to be able to speak and understand it. If you already are literate in a language that uses an alphabet, learning a language written in a different alphabet, like going from English to the Greek alphabet, is not hard. Where the going gets difficult is if you move from an alphabetic or syllabic system to a logographic system like Chinese, because so much memorization is involved. Chinese developed very impressive connection from each word in their mental lexicon to the sequence of hand movements needed to write its characters. We find the syllabus Chinese reader finds the radicals. Chinese learner of alphabetic language, English for sure, may have an unexpected problem. It turns out that some of them are not good at using phonetic information to help remember the order of letters. So although native reader of Chinese have immense skills at remembering the order of the strokes and the radical in a character, they are unused to connecting the information to the order of sounds in a syllable, because it has no such connection in Chinese, and it might contribute to unusual spelling error patterns in a client with aphasia whose first language is Chinese. The writing system of other first languages may also create particular kinds of spelling problems. In this chapter, we have taken what we know about how learning our first language shapes the connection in our brains so that we can understand it and speak it efficiently. Then, early language exposure, if it is interactive and not just exposure to videos, has a strong and lasting effect on how we sort sounds into phonemic categories. Then, many social factors also differ between child and adult language learners. Three important ones are: first, how you are spoken to; second, how much you are willing to change the way your speech sounds; and third, how good you are at memorizing. Lastly, people who speak with a foreign accent or with the accent of a non-standard dialect of a language are often faced with the need to sound more like standard speakers. The need for this could probably be reduced by changes in social attitudes and by making learning to listen to many kinds of native and foreign accents part of our education. That's all from us. Thank you.